One page?
Yeah.
Two cookies that use here.
One is enough.
Two.
Yeah, it's on.
One is enough. Pinchas, one cake, one cookie.
Yeah, the big one.
The big one. No. Look like the oil, so they
Yeah, you got one?
Did these from the oil?
So what oil is
Birds, you got one?
Special cookies.
Special cookies.
The longest week is ahead of us. Mamish, the longest week. Because if you think about Matan Torah, 2 parshas, Yisra Mishpatim. This coming week, starting with Shabbos, is Chov Gimel Adar. Chov Gimel Adar starts the Shmoina Simei Miluim, 8 days, where every day Moshe Rabbeinu took apart the entire Mishkan and put it together again.
Every day?
Every single day.
Wow.
But you know what that means?
But yeah, I know what that means, but he didn't do it by himself. He did it.
Miraculously, he was able to do it himself, which is like a Pella Otzum. Because think about the height is 10 amas. You know what 10 amas is?
Yeah, I know. Well, he was tall.
Yeah, Moshe Rabbeinu was tall, but still, you got to be strong for this.
Like physically.
How many parshas go into this week? I mean, in general, for building the base of Mikdash. So start. Truma, Tetzava, Vayakel, Pikudi, Vayikra, Tzav, Shmini. Then it goes on and on, a little bit things that are sichos, until in parshas Nosoi talks about the Nesiim decided to bring korbanos lechanukas hamizbeach, and from the first day of Nisan till the 12th day of Nisan, the 13th day of Nisan, they brought korbanos. So what goes on in this week really starts in parshas Truma and finishes in parshas Nosoi. That's a long week.
And also next Shabbat is 3 Sefer Torah.
You know what? The whole 1,500 years of history goes into one parshas Bereshis. By the time you get to parshas Noach, you sailed through 1,500 years. But Truma, Tetzav, Kisisa, Vayakel, Pikudi, Vayikra, Tzav, Shemini, Vaita, till Nosoi, is this coming week. Chov Gimel Adar until Rosh Chodesh Nisan. Okay, let's go. Parshas Pikudi, right at the end. The Eibusher tells Moshe Rabbeinu exactly how to put together the Mishkan and what should be the order of putting together the Mishkan. When it comes to this day of Chodesh Harishon Be'echad LaChodesh, in other words, Rosh Chodesh Nisan, Tokemes Mishkan Oil Moed, you should put together this should be the first day of the Mishkan Oil Moed. And the Torah continues everything what you should do. You should bring in the Or, and you should bring the long arichas. At the end, the pasuk with Beis. This is mamish the end of Parshas Pikudi. Yekraft Aaron is born of Pesach El Moed. We should bring Aaron and his children to the door of the Oil Moed. V'rechatz toisem amoyim. You should wash them. Pilbashto es Aaron eis bigdei hakodesh. You should dress Aaron the begodim. Umashachto oisa, you should anoint him with oil. V'kidashto oisa, you should sanctify him. V'chi and li, you should be according to me. V'ezbon of takriv, also his children, you should bring clothes. V'ilbashto oisam katonos, and you should give them and put onto them the katonis.
I had a question.
Yeah.
It said Hilbashta, he has to put on it, and then the Mashachta. Doesn't have to be first Meshicha and then Lebisha. Why he put the?
You should be naked. You should be naked while the Meshech.
So why he Mashach on the clothes?
On his forehead. Like a chof, like a chof Yevonis.
I thought he Mashach.
No.
Why chof Yevonis?
Because the Rebbe says because of parshas, because a chof is merames on kahuna. Chof is kahuna.
Well, why you call it chof Yevonis? Yevonis means
the way it's written in Yovan.
Yeah.
Why the way that's okay? It's a good question.
Why not? Lashon Kodesh.
That would basic. The chof Yevonis is an X, so the oil drips equally on his face. And Chaf Yavanis is an X, like this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But why is it called why Chaf Yavanis?
Why an X?
Because that's meramas the Indian of Kahuna. I continue. Mashachta oisam, kasher mashachta saviyim. You should anoint and pour oil on the children like you did for the father. V'chinu you should become kohenim to me. This anointment will be lekunas oilam l'deiraisam, an appointment for all generations. Moshe did everything as God told him. So the Ramban asks a simple question, and sometimes from the simple things you get a window into the bigger picture. The Ramban says, "Hey, wait a minute. What it says? Vikrafta sanav esbonov, vilbasha sanav eis bigdei hakodesh. You should dress on all the begodim." And then, as bonov takriv, his children, you should bring clothes. Vilbashta oisem kutonis. You should only put on the kutonis. Wait, what happened with the other things? With the other four? There is 4 things. Kohen Gadol has 8 begodim. Kohen Hedyot has 4 begodim. What happened with the other 3 items?
Tells him that only one levushi has to dress them up.
Yeah, it sounds like right. So the Ramban says, Kitzer binyan levishas aron abonim. He was makatzer. Shomer vilbashta sanav as bigdei hakodesh b'bonim omer vilbashtem katonis. Kvar tziva Hashem oisoi befrat seida levishosam. The Eibishter already told him a parshas tetzaveh in detail how to dress them. V'loi ba'ach shavela l'tzadeh lo shas halevisha is only telling him the time and the order of how to do it. Shetia achar hakomas hamishkan kulei. First he should put up the mishkan and put the oil on the mishkan, and then he should dress Aaron and then his children. He mentioned the katonis. With this, he will start the lavisha, but really, it's just okay. Where did it really? Where do we have the commandment earlier? Look further in the page to Tzava. It says, "Olivnei Aaron tasa chutonois." For the children of Aaron, this is in the commandment of how to make. You have a copy?
Yes.
This is the second paragraph. Where you should make for them the jackets, you should make the belts and the hats. There should be lekova for honor, for glory, and for beauty. You should dress them to Aaron, your brother, and his children. You should anoint them with oil. You should fill their hands. In other words, you should give them the power in their hands that they are now in charge to be kohenim. You should sanctify them, and they should serve me. You should make for them pants made out of the cloth called bod, linen. That the pants which covers the erva, private part, didn't have underwear in the base of Mikdash. There was no undershirts, but they have the pants. The pants was lechatzas b'sar erva.
But those days those days they did not have pants. They usually were long simla, yeah.
We don't know. But one thing is for sure that there was only masnaim v'ad yerechaim. The kohenim wore short pants. It was masnaim v'ad yerechaim. Boxers. But it was a little higher than boxers because it was from the Masnaim, right? It was from the Masnaim, Ad Yirachaim, and that was it. They didn't wear socks, didn't wear shoes, right? That's why the Kohanim used to get very sick. That's why they had always doctors in the base of Mikdash, right?
I thought that they...
It was cold.
Because the floor was freezing. It was outdoors.
But isn't it they had the fire?
Wouldn't they be protected by Hashem?
No. The fire. There was
They-
a fire on the ground. There was like a heating floors.
But that was on the base of Moiket.
Yeah,
But that was one night when they slept. But by day, when they walked in the base of Mikdash, Shalim is cold.
The second base of Mikdash did not have
No, they
heating
didn't
floors.
have any heating.
They had the fire going.
They didn't have any steam.
They had hardening of the arteries. They had cholesterol issues.
Oh, exactly.
Oh, forget it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, doctor. Yeah.
I'm eating hot meat.
Oh, I'm looking forward for that. Right.
But wait, they didn't have a shirt.
They had, but the shirt didn't go past the Yerechaim.
So
So their feet didn't have any socks because the stone floor was always cold, and they were walking on standing on their feet in the stone floor.
Very heavy.
This was the begodim were an Aaron and his children when they came into the Oil Moed. You're asking a good question about how come that was possible, but that's a. The Aaron was wearing it, and his children were wearing it. When they go close to the Mizbeach, an important point which we spoke about 2 Shabbos ago, and we'll get to it at the end of the sicha, that Rashi says on the pasuk Mem Aleph, he says that the Levisha was and all the 4 big dekona. Also, the Michnas Evod was that Moshe Rabbeinu addressed Aaron and his children. Next, in Parshas Tzav, which talks about how it actually happened. He took the oil and he anointed the Mishkan and all the kelim. He sprayed from the oil onto the Mizbeach, all the vessels, the kiyur, the basin, the held the kiyur, and he sanctified them all. He put onto the head of Aaron from the oil of anointing, and he anointed him to sanctify him. He put them on their kotonos, their jacket. He put them on he girdled them with their belts, and he put on their hats. As Abisha told Moshe.
I have a question from the parsha we just heard yesterday about the shemen. It said later, you're not allowed to mix the shemen to make the same shemen. You're not allowed to put it on you. Whoever does this, not you might. Why the shemen was so...
we could learn the whole Torah in one night. I'll have to leave something for tomorrow night.
I try.
Let's try to cover this, the Ramban first. So the Ramban asks, we see that in Parshas Tetzav and Tzav, it says clearly that he has to put on all the begodim. How come in Parshas Pikudi, he just says that they should put on the children of Aaron, the Kotoinas? How come if the Torah forgot to mention the other big day kahuna? The Avneit, the right, the Kotoinas, the Avnet, the Mikboas. How come we forgot to mention the other stuff? So the Ramban says that it just here the Torah is just giving a summary, and also the Torah here is just telling you the order, because he already told you in Parshas Tzav what to do. In Parshas Tzav it tells you when he did it, and in Pikudi is just giving you the order of what goes first, second, and third. So therefore he just mentions one. He just mentions putting on the containers, but really,
it's even Aaron HaKohen, he just says Big Day HaKodesh. He doesn't detail it.
Right.
So
exactly.
It's also saying,
exactly.
No.
Exactly.
I'm saying
over here also exactly.
Yeah.
He says Big Day HaKodesh, Bekitza. It's also here. He just says containers.
Because 1 second, Big Day HaKodesh
means all the Big Day HaKodesh,
right.
all the 8.
No, but the Aaron HaKohen had special begodim for Yom Kippur and for regular servants.
Yeah, but parshas he means here the begodim that are for every day.
For every day.
Yeah.
Were these garments that Moses clothed them, did they have a higher importance than the other ones? The other ones had less? No.
And we'll talk about this soon, because it was a special mitzvah that Moshe Rabbeinu has to dress them.
Didn't the Rebbe say in last week's shir how the Torah just gives us certain things when we were talking about all the shaila was all the ingredients that go into ketoides,
yeah,
and it only mentioned a couple.
Right.
So maybe over here too, the same reason. It says
Okay.
The
problem is like this: the Rebbe doesn't like the pshat for 2 reasons. Number one, it costs you the same one word to say. If you're trying to save some money, that's good. We always try to say a couple of bucks. But if you say the same price, but you're saying the same price, you could say instead of saying that you should take the children, vilbash the oisam kutonas, and put them on the katonas, you could say vilbash the oisam bigdeim, just like it says by Aaron, plural, big day kodesh, put on the big day kodesh, instead of saying put on the ketonis, put on the jacket, put on the begodim for the same dollar.
Maybe by them he meant to say only the ketonis is there and the rest of it.
That's exactly. Another thing is, if Rashi thinks that this is true, this is a good pshat, that Rashi should say it. If the Ramban, who is written for scholars, has to explain it to you, so Rashi, who is written for 5-year-old, how should the 5-year-old know better than the scholar? If the Ramban has to explain it to you, then for sure Rashi should explain it to you. So that Ramban says, it says only the Ketonis, but it means all the other ones. The Ketonis is the first. This, and another thing is that this Teretz only goes good according to the Ramban. It doesn't even go good with Rashi. Why? Because we spoke about this the Shabbos, if you remember, and you weren't here Shabbos, so I'll just repeat it, that Ramban or Rachaim, many Meforshim say that there was, they went into the locker room. They put on their Michnasayim, because they didn't wear underwear in the base of Mikdash, right? So what? They should get undressed and they should stand there while Moshe gets them dressed, not sneers, right? So they went into the locker room, they put on the Michnasayim, and that's the way it sounds in the Pasuk in Parshas Tetzaveh. It says that that there were 3 things: the Avnet Mikboas and the Kutoinus, and that's what Hilbashtas Aaron Achicha. And then next pasuk says, "Va'asei lahem michnasevod lachasas b'sar erva v'masnayim v'yirechaim yiu." So the Rachaim and the Ramban and almost all the Meforshim say that they went into a private place. They put on the michnasayim. They came out, and Aaron put on the other things. He put on the Kutoinus, he put on the Gartel, the Avnet, and the Mikbaz, but this they put on themselves. So according to the Ramban, it makes sense. They walked out of the locker room, they had their pants on, and what's the next thing you put on? The jacket, right? You can't put on the gartel before you put on the jacket, right? How are you going to do that? So you have to put on first the jacket, then you put on the gartel, then the hat. So we try to mention the first thing. That's what the Ramban says. This
is by the way, this happens every service, or
this happened in the Shivas Yimei Miluim. But according to Rashi, where the first thing Moshe Rabbeinu did was to put on the Michnasayim, so it doesn't even make sense that he mentioned the first one. That's not true. The first one is the pants, the Michnasayim. So why does he mention the Ketoinus? So obviously, the Pshat according to Rashi is that the truth is that the only thing Moshe Rabbeinu put on was the Ketoinus. But what's going on? There seems to be a contradiction between Parshas Tetzaveh and Parshas Pikudi. So the answer is simple, because only we learn Chumash very fast and we don't pay attention. But the 5-year-old that is learning that with Rashi is counting on his fingers. He keeps track of what's going on in the base of Mikdash. He's keeping track of everything that the Torah says. If it stacks up, it's good. If it doesn't stack up, he raises his hand, he asks the Rabbi a question. There is Shmoynas Yimei Miluim. But the 8 days were broken up. There was the 7th day and the 8th day. Rashi tells us in great detail in Parshas Tzav that Aaron went in, he did all the avodas, and then the Shekhinah didn't rest. And he was embarrassed. He said, Moshe, my brother, you know what? I think I goofed up with the Egel, and I'm not worthy to be the Kohen Gadol. The Eibishter doesn't like me, not interested in my avodah. And then the Yidden came to complain. It's one of the longest Rashis in the world. It's a long Rashi in the Tzav. The Yidden came to complain. They said, Moshe Rabbeinu, every day you're taking the Mishkan, you're putting it together, take apart, together, apart. We don't see that the Shekhinah is resting here. Maybe that our sin is too big. The Eibishter is not interested in us. He's not going to rest the Shekhinah. The whole thing was, I'm going to rest and I'm going to dwell among the Jews. The Yidden said, 7 days have gone by. Every day we put it together, we go here, and the whole circus is happening, and nothing's happening. We don't see the Shekhinah.
Like it's starting the engine.
So now, the 8th day, the Yidden came to cry. They said they didn't realize that this was the plan, but they cried. Moshe Rabbeinu went and he asked Rachim for the Eibishter that immediately there should be a Shros Shechina, and all of a sudden the Shechina rested on the Mishkan on the 8th day. And Aaron and Moshe walked out, and they gave a blessing to Klal Yisrael. And what did they say? Vihi Noyam. This capital until Vihi Noyam is what they said on Rosh Chodesh Nisan. And that's considered one of the biggest holidays. Rosh Chodesh Nisan, Oysa Yoim Noten Esrat Atoris. That was a day that took 10 crowns.
This when Moshe put the Masveh? That was the time? It was after that.
Marsov is much before. Marsov is basically when it comes down after Yom Kippur. This is 6 months later. After Yom Kippur is when they get the command to make the Mishkan. They make it very fast. The Eibusha says to wait. Chof Gimel Ada, which is this week, Shabbos, is when they start the Shivas Yimei Miluim. Next Shabbos, this Shabbos is Shabbos Mavorchim. The following Shabbos is going to be Shabbos Rosh Chodesh. This Shabbos is Chof Gimel. This is the first day of Shivas Yimei Miluim. Every day they're putting together the Mishkan. Nothing's happening. And then finally, the 8th day, and the 7th day, Moshe Rabbeinu was the only one that did the service in the Beis HaMikdash. Rashi says that Moshe Rabbeinu was the Kohen, because at length it says in Parshas Tetzav everything that was done, and always said that Moshe Rabbeinu does it. On the 8th day, and then not only Moshe Rabbeinu did it, Aaron did nothing. Moshe Rabbeinu takes the korban, he picks it up, he takes it, puts Aaron's hands, he puts his hand on it, he picks up, moves it to all sides, just like the Kohen. Moshe was the Kohen, Rashi says, and Aaron and his sons, they were like the Bailam, just like when I go to, Mashiach will come, right? I go to the Beis HaMikdash, right? And there's the Kohen, and there's the Bailam. So, for example, certain korbanos, there's the Tnufa, right? So, I bring the korban, and the mincha, for example, the Kohen puts his hands under my hands, and I leave it loose, and he goes like this, and he moves around to all 4 corners of the world, up and down. So Aaron was that. Aaron was like the Bailam, and Moshe Rabbeinu put his hands under Aaron's hands, and he moved it to all sides, and then he gave Aaron the portion that the Bailam gets, and he took the portion that the Kohen gets. For the 7 days, Moshe Rabbeinu was a Kohen, and Aaron was not a Kohen. Aaron was not a Kohen. Then the 8th day, Rashi says, that day was a unique day. They were all equal on that day. It says that on that day, V'rochetzu mimenu, this is the one of the last psukim pikudi, that on that day, Yom HaShmini L'Miluim Hushvu Kulam Lakuna, on that day, V'rochetzu mimenu Moshe v'Aaron uvonim es yedem es regleim, that Moshe and Aaron were equal. After that, Moshe was no more a Kohen. After that, Moshe was what? Moshe was a Levi. You know what his job was?
Singing songs.
There was the Shoyarim and the Meshoyarim. He was from the Shoyarim, from the ones that were guarding the gates. There was some of the Levim were singing, and some were were taking care of the gates. So, if we should summarize, the 7 days, Moshe Rabbeinu was a Kohen, Aaron was not. The 8th day, they were both Kohenim. After that, Aaron was the Kohen, Moshe was not. Okay. A child is reading all this, he's reading carefully. When he gets to parshas pikudi, it says, "B'yom hachodesh harishon be'echel hachodesh takem es hamishkan." Rosh Chodesh Nisan. What's Rosh Chodesh Nisan? The 8th day. That's the 8th day, right? The 8th day was the kedusha was very intense, right? There's a band called themselves the 8th day, right?
It's very good.
But it seems to me that all the songs sound to me like exactly the same.
Yeah,
you hear them you heard one song, you heard all the songs. I tell the kids that you're playing it all day. They said, but it's a different song. So the 8th day that was the day, and as Rashi says in Parshas Tzav, and they also in this Parsha, Pikudi. Vayar Moshe kol hamalachim v'ina otso isa kashatziv Hashem ken otso ve'vorches Moshe Amar lahem yirotzu shetchish reshchina v'maisei yedechem v'hi noyam Hashem Elokeinu olei maasei yedenu koinu olei. That's Tilim Tzadik v'echad me'echad osam ezmoinim shetfila leMoshe. So now let's summarize. So you have the 7 days. There was no Ashras Hashchina then, but Moshe Rabbeinu was doing all the avodah at those days. Then there was the 8th day where Moshe Rabbeinu did most of the avodah, Aaron did some of the avodah, like Rashi says, Abiyim Shmini leMiluim, Shima Shemoishe v'Yikrev Kabon Tzibur, Chutz Ma'oisen Shenitztava Boy Bayim Shenem Akrav al Mizbeach. There were a few things that Aaron did, but mostly Moshe did avodah. After that, Moshe is nothing. Aaron becomes the Kohen. Okay. Now that you have it straight, so we say that the Shmini Simei Elul was the day of Chinuch. What does chinuch mean? Chinuch can mean two things. When you say you have to be mechanech a child, right? So chinuch of a child means that the child is potter from mitzvahs. It's potter from the mitzvahs. But you're teaching a child, before he becomes chayiv, how to do the mitzvahs. Then there is an idea of chinuch, which is not that it's, we say there's Chanukah, right? Chanukah is a mizbeach. That was after they inaugurated the mizbeach. The inauguration of the Mizbeach was already a Mizbeach. They were chayiv b'mitzvahs already. They already had the kedusha of the Mishkan. So chinuch could mean two things: achona v'achshara, before, or it could mean the beginning of. So in the Shivas Yemei Miluim, chinuch means it's a preparation. The Shechina didn't rest yet. On the 8th day, when it was Aeser HaTorah, that special day that was the 8th day, that was chinuch, the beginning. That started Chanukas HaMizbeach, not potter, but they're preparing for. But that was mamish the beginning, the inauguration of the Beis HaMikdash. So now let's go back and understand what's going on. We spoke about the Shabbos 2 weeks ago. The Ramban says that when Aaron got dressed in the 7 days, every day he got dressed. So he went into the locker room, he put on the mechnasayim, he came out, and Moshe Rabbeinu did the other three things. Moshe put on the ketonis, wrapped around the gartel, and put on the hat. Rashi says no. Moshe did everything. Why, who told Rashi such a thing? Why does Rashi think that's the case? Why does it have to be that way? And it doesn't even sound that way in the Psukim. The Psukim it says, Ketoinus avnet mikboz, he'll bash toisim, he should dress them. Vaselas and michna sevod, it sounds like it's a separate thing. And it makes sense that Ramban says, that Erechaim says, it's sneas what? So Aaron and his sons are standing naked, and Moshe Rabbeinu has to dress them. But Rashi says, we spoke about it, but the kitzah, the lekuti is, that it says, V'rachatz toisim, even when it went to mikveh, it says that Moshe Rabbeinu was obligated to dunk them in the mikveh,
like they do for a woman.
like you do for a little baby. You take your baby, you put her in the bathtub, a little baby, and you wash her up. So Aaron was big, but you listen. If Moshe could put up a mishkan, which each one of those kroshim are 20 feet high, and that are huge. They're like this, each one of them. So he could take Moshe Rabbeinu, pick him up, and. But think a moment. Where's the tzniut?
Yeah, he's not allowed a student's not allowed to see his rabbi.
Who's the student? Who's the rabbi? Who's the student? Who's the rabbi?
Well, Aaron is the student. Moshe Rabbeinu is the rabbi.
Moshe Rabbeinu was dressed. Aaron was undressed.
Yeah. Moshe allowed to carry.
Right. Yeah. It wasn't the other way around. Okay. So Moshe Rabbeinu has. So he goes. He has to. Elamai Rashi understands that Moshe Rabbeinu is now the shliach of Hashem Yisborach to sanctify them. A person, I can't. How do I sanctify myself? My punch is as strong as I am. How can I give a bigger punch? How can I jump higher than my head? How can I? Moshe Rabbeinu is now giving kedusha and bringing kedusha onto Aaron. There was two mitzvahs. Moshe has to be active and Aaron has to be passive. Moshe has to bestow the kedusha onto Aaron, and Aaron has to stand there like a vessel and take it in. Therefore, everything in the Shivas Yemei Miluim was done through Moshe Rabbeinu. Everything. Taking him to the mikveh, Moshe Rabbeinu. Putting him to the mikveh. Getting him dressed, all 4 begodim was done from Moshe Rabbeinu. Everything, in order for the kedusha of the Kohen Gadol and for the Kohenim they should become holy. This wasn't just an appointment. Okay, from now on, that's it. You got the Tabas HaMelech, you stand the Achashtronim Bnei Aramochim, and that's it. You're the man in charge. There was a Kedusha. The Kiddush to Oisam L'chaneli. They got Kedusha, Memela they became Kohenim. Who bestows the Kedusha? So Moshe Rabbeinu does it as Hashem's agent. So they have to be passive, he has to be active. He has to bathe them, he has to dress them, everything he has to do. The Rashi says it, why it's in a separate pasuk. Okay, because Michnas Ebod is Lachatzas Besar Erva. The other three Begodim was Lakovid of Luciferus. The Michnasayim was just Lachatzas. But who did it? Moshe Rabbeinu did everything. That's in the 7 days. But when it comes to the 8th day, it wasn't that Moshe Rabbeinu did everything. We see already that Hushvu Kulam Lekahuna, they already had the Kedusha of Koyanim. Aaron already did some of the avodas. The sons already did some of the avodas. They managed to do a couple mistakes too. Some fatal mistakes also. But not the Vaviu. But their mistake wasn't that they were the wrong people. They were Koyanim. They might have done the wrong avodah, but they were Koyanim, right? So now you understand. The Rashi doesn't have to explain. The Rebbe says here, why did Rashi have to explain? It's simple. Only the Shivas Yimei Miluim was when it says in parshas Tetzaveh, it's talking about the Shivas Yimei Miluim. So the whole parshas Tetzaveh is talking about the 7 days. In the 7 days when the kedusha didn't permeate the Mishkan, every day it was built and taken apart. But they never felt Ashros Ashchina. It was chinuch as a preparation, but didn't start yet. So over there, Moshe has to do everything. But b'yom hashemini l'miluim, today we're talking about in parshas pikudi, we're talking about yom hashemini l'miluim. V'daber Hashem Moshe b'yom hachodesh harishon be'echad lachodesh. When it comes Nisan on the first month and the first day, which is a chodesh Nisan, which is the 8th day, takim es mishkan oil moed. Now that day we say it's a different order. On that day, vilbashtas anas bigda kodesh vesbon of takni vilbashta ketoinus. Only the ketoinus. Why only the ketoinus? The pashtas, because the gartel is like an extra and the hat is an extra. The ketoinus was the main nice bagged of the kohen. So on the 8th day, they only put on the ketoinus. That's it. They only put on the.
They were already kedoshim, so you don't need to put the rest of the stuff.
Exactly. It's just, yeah.
How did they, by the 8th day, supposedly they already had the Shechina or not yet?
They had, on the 8th day is when the Shechina rested.
What, it just had the cloud over it? Like one?
Yeah, a cloud came down and the whole Klal Yisrael saw that the Shechina was resting. They have no videos of it.
No, I mean, I'm saying is that what was physically different at that day, that they knew the Shechina is in place.
The Yidden saw, because it said that the Kvod Hashem filled the Mishkan, and the Yidden were able to see the Kvod Hashem. Exactly how they saw it.
No.
I guess they saw it. All of Klal Yisrael was standing there, and they saw Kvod Hashem.
From all of this talk, we're only seeing the Kohanim doing all the workout. What about all Klal Yisrael that they actually sin?
Because the Kohanim are the Shluchim of all Klal Yisrael.
So you're saying those 8 days, 7 days, what Klal Yisrael
Klal
did?
Yisrael was standing and watching.
Just standing every single day?
Every day they were standing and watching.
Wow.
How do we know they were watching? Otherwise, why were they complaining? On the 8th day, they were crying. They said, we're waiting for the Ashros Hashchina, because we sinned with the Egel, and we know that through the Mishkan, we're going to feel the presence of the Eibishter, and we know that he forgave and we don't see it. So obviously they've been standing there for all the days, and they're watching.
How 600 Ribot can watch a little Mishkan?
Surrounding it.
And they're standing around. It's not so little. It's not so little. 50 by 100 Amos is basically.
But 600 Ribot, it's 600,000.
You can bleachers. You can bleachers. What am I talking about? It's basically think about this that we're talking about. This is 50 by 100. This lot. So think about this from here, from the corner until the next corner, and then double that, and then you have bleachers all around. It's not bad. How many people could you fit in Shea? How many people could you fit in Shea Stadium? How big is a football field?
Madison Square Garden is big.
Huh?
Like 85,000.
Okay. Okay.
This is
So,
I guess you got to build up a little more on the bleachers.
yeah, it can be, I don't know, about 40,000. How many people it could be?
And they were quiet probably when the Kohanim was.
Huh?
No, football's about 85.
Really? The thing is, you could see the Shekhinah from far away, though, I would think. I would think you would have to be right up on it to
Oh, but
see it.
everyone wants to see all the details, probably.
Nah, I don't think the details. By the way, where they had the mikveh?
Where did they have the mikveh? Be'er Shalmiriam,
Yeah,
probably.
Shemir.
Be'er Shalmiriam. They make a hole in the
So
ground.
that's right there. It's a how do you call it? It's a mountain. It wasn't.
No,
it was just not. It was a
desert
valley.
was flat.
Yeah,
Everything
but
was
we
flat.
had valleys. It had
Oh,
to be in a
can't be.
valley.
Why?
Because the Mayan.
No, you dig,
was
you
coming
dig a hole in the ground that's big enough for 40 saw. You just dig a hole in the ground. Because it says that the clouds made everything flat.
flat.
There was no mountains, no valleys, only 3 mountains.
In Brazil, Guadalajara, they have a field, 250,000 people.
Oh, yeah? Here there was 600,000.
Were the Kurban, did Moshe bring those as well, or was it only on
The 7 days, all the korbanos were brought by Moshe Rabbeinu.
So he's
On the
bringing
8th,
those, but it's not-
he was the Kohen.
And so
Yeah.
that's what I guess Kol Israel would have thought would have gotten.
They didn't realize. They didn't realize that the 7 days were only days of Miluim, of inauguration. At the 8th day, they came to complain.
Why Moshe did not tell them?
How many hours of the day they had to put together the Mishkan? dress up
Okay,
the
they bring the
Kohanim,
korbanos,
slaughter
but
all
they
the
wanted
korbanos.
to see God's presence.
Right, so it's a
On the 8th day is when the God presence was revealed.
We understand that it was 12 hours of workout. Mitzad hachama, tatam shama. It says 6
Why?
o'clock because he had to start at he started at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, but they didn't do it till say because they did the usually
He had
they
to put
did.
together the Mishkan. He had to put together.
Oh, I don't know. I wasn't there.
He had to slaughter all this.
But
And he had to do all of
usually,
them. He had to take every kli, every dish, every single day.
and could be. I mean, the regular avodah, the Beis Hamikdash went till usually
Yeah,
till
but
an
yeah,
hour and a half,
Kohanim,
an
yeah.
hour and a half after Chatzos.
Yeah, but that was because we had a lot of Kayanim doing the
Right.
work.
Okay.
That's different.
Here was Moshe himself.
Everyone himself. He's
very
saying one
special.
person.
Very special.
That is, something is missing over here. You gotta have some work. Unless he had a lot.
No, he did it himself. Everything himself. Ah?
You sure didn't help?
No one's allowed to help. Moshe has to do everything
Only the
himself.
8 days.
And the 8th day,
Was it quick? He was fast.
he must have been
speedo.
strong to put together the Mishkan himself.
Mishka, I understand, but I'm saying doing all the cleaning, everything. The Mishka,
If he's so strong that he can put the Mishkan together, then he could do it fast
Do
too.
everything.
You need to only do it for 1 week.
He did it for 1 week, and the 8th day he sheared,
And then it was-
and then he was a Levi. He was a Levi after that.
He was a
that's something.
Maybe,
Huh?
maybe he drank some vodka or something.
He was from the guards, yeah.
Vodka doesn't do it. Vodka
But when it comes to Aaron, just to finish off the thought, when it comes to Aaron, it says Velbashtas Aaron as Big Day HaKodesh. Aaron needed, even on the 8th day, he needed that extra boost that Moshe Rabbeinu should put on all the Big Day HaKodesh, because it was that finally when he went in to bring the last thing, when they brought the Ketores, and Moshe Rabbeinu walked in and taught him the Maisa Ketores, and they davened together, is when the Shekhinah finally rested. So because Moshe Rabbeinu and Aaron had the special avodah on the 8th day, he needed that special extra help from Moshe. So therefore, when it comes to Aaron, it says V'albash es Aaron eis big da kodesh mashacht oisav kidash oisav chinli, that on the 8th day Aaron needs all the 8 begodim.
Another boost.
But Vezbonov, when it comes to the sons, the 4 sons, Takriv, V'albash and Kutanas, only the Kutanas, because they were already kohanim through the 7 days. They were already kohanim. So today they only need the Kutanas, and the Kutanas itself was enough. One of the many lessons that the Rebbe has here in Avodas Hashem, we spoke about this on Shabbos, is an incredible lesson that we have in Avodas Hashem, which is that Gemara says in Daf Kuf Neirevin that the Torah wasn't given to the Eden. We would know good character traits from animals. The cat would teach us modesty, and the other animal would teach us not to steal. So now the shaila is after the Torah was given. What happens after the Torah was given?
Now you have to learn from scratch.
So now we can note sneas. We can note sneas from laws of nature, but that's not true. You see today, in today's world, where people think that they're going to make laws of tznius, and then you have all of a sudden a whole movement, me too, you too, they too, and all of a sudden people that are supposed to be leaders and figureheads, and it turns out that they're babies and they're not trustworthy.
The low
lives, yeah. So but because I yid before Matan Torah, if there was no Matan Torah, we'd learn tznius from the chosel. But now that there is Matan Torah, tznius is because the Eibishter said. Tznius is for the Eibishter said. The Eibishter said that Yid has nothing to do with men, women, children. All Yidden have a mitzvah. Tznius is a din norachan, not in Yeridea. It's not a special mitzvah for women. It's for men, women, children. Tznius is for Klal Yisrael, and it's a special mitzvah, right? And therefore, it's not. Therefore, this is the remez that when it came to the kedusha that was bestowed onto Aaron. So even the inyan of michnasei bod lechasas besar erva was not something that he did on his own. It was something that came to him through Moshe Rabbeinu, which Moshe Rabbeinu is Torah. It wasn't something that he did on his own. Even something which is simple, to wear underwear, to wear michnasayim, to wear pants, which is the chasas besar erva. Before Matan Torah, Aaron would do it maybe on his own, but after Matan Torah, he does it because the Eibishter tells him to do it, because Moshe Rabbeinu is malbishit unto him. And when he does it that way, we know it's going to last. Because the kedusha of a Jewish home and the tznius in a Jewish home is not because it makes sense to me and you. The tznius in a Jewish home and the kedusha in a Jewish home is because the Eibishter bestows it upon us. And therefore it's very strong, and it's anchored in a very, very deep place. And the societies come and societies go, styles come, styles go, fads come, fads go, and the Yidden stay. The sanctity, the kedusha, and the tznius of a Jewish house always stays. Why? Because we're not learning it from a chosel and a mullah. Because we're taking it from Moshe Rabbeinu. If Aaron should do it in the locker room, it means that Aaron is mitzad his koyach is putting on mechnasayim lechasas b'sa'erva. But the truth is that even a simple thing like tznius, we take it because Moshe Rabbeinu, and when we take it from Moshe Rabbeinu, then it lasts forever and ever. Yeah, matzah. Anyone that still wants to be on the list of matzah. Wednesday morning we're baking matzah. And if you want to have the sichos of getting your hands dirty with the matzah,
what time is that?
8 o'clock.
In the morning?
Yeah, you want to come?
What time are you down?